everybody, it's me, Edward Jones, back to a new video. This video will be about some tidbits from my or some pieces from my movie collection that cover SHTF situations, and this is kind of show that I show my humorous side. This side goes back to when I was, gosh, about 4 or 5. I remember I was around that age. I actually watched Return of the Living Dead with my mom. It was a very gory movie, but she felt I was, mature enough to watch it with her, and it carried off from there. This will be about movies from my collection dealing with zombies. Yes, zombies. I understand that it may be a childish or childish thing to talk about amongst preppers, but why not talk about it? I mean, it's it's an interesting subject that's taking over our culture with different various movies, especially with the show The Walking Dead, which I'm a big fan of. I read the comics and I keep up with the show. Rick is my favorite character, of course, and I figured why not do a video on some of the things I pulled from the movies that I watch, from here and there, dealing with the issues. Now, what's funny is I remember back in high school, me and my friends, we get into conversations about this. We get into serious conversations, even up until when I was in college. We would talk about zombie plans. What's the best weapon for it? What's the best weapon? Where can we get guns? Where can we get this, that, and that? And we get real serious about it. And it makes us think about our decisions. Hearing the points that we give and the points that our friends give to us. And we got a lot of these points, a lot of the decisions that we made at the time, they were kind of backed up by the films we watch. We were fans of certain movies. Like I said, Return of the Living Dead for me, Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead. I'm laughing because this is funny. This is funny for me to talk about, reminiscing about all the conversations me and my friends have had. And we got together, we watched certain movies, played a lot of video games, like I said before. And one movie I'm gonna pull from my collection is Dawn of the Dead. This came out. I remember seeing this with 3 other friends of mine in high school in 2004. It was entertaining, and as I got the DVD and watched through a lot of the scenes, I started to see some useful information. First off, this movie does put into perspective how different personalities will handle a stressful situation. We have fathers, we have wives, daughters, security workers, police, things like that, and it just gives us feeling as to how those different individuals will react to something like this, like it's portrayed in the movie. We have the character Anna, who's played by Sarah Polley. She's a nurse, and she's the star in the movie. I remember her husband was attacked by the neighbor's daughter, and she had to manage to get away from the house, get to safety, but she went up and get in a car accident, in which she survived. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen this movie, whether you're preppers or not, but it's a pretty good movie to check out. You got the character Kenneth. He's a police officer, played by Ving Rhames. He was a Marine. He later became a police officer. He talks about getting to his brother, who's at a fort, and he uses a lot of his training to help with various missions that go on within the movie. You have the main character. We have another character. His name is Michael, who's played by Jake Weber. He was, he's a guy he's had various jobs. He's a trucker, a snowplow driver. He worked, in the movie he makes a point that he's not really a guy that you would seem to look towards. He tells Andre, played by Mekhi Phifer, that if he's asking, are you special ops? He said, no, I sell televisions at Best Buy. But he's always thinking, and he's always come up with plans. He comes up with good plans that actually inevitably have it leads to everyone looking towards him for ideas. You have one of my favorite characters, CJ, played by Michael Kelly. He he's a security guard. Yeah, he's an asshole in the end of the movie, but he later becomes, one of the good guy, one of the guys that he works real hard, comes up with ideas. He's real good with a gun. He comes up with ideas for how to get him out of crowds. Comes up with the idea of the propane bomb, which is pretty entertaining and thought provoking. I should say. But I do like this movie in terms of the stressful situations it shows that how it places the characters in, and just shows their response. And it shows a lot of good stuff as weapons handling, how to kill time. And, I remember the scene in this movie where Michael and Anna are watching Animal House. So me and my friends, we were thinking about how we kill time. They were stuck in the mall, surrounded by zombies. Me, I think I'd be doing target practice, which is throwing objects at makeshift targets. Probably work out like Kenneth was doing. He was lifting weights. You had another guy named Tucker. He was played by Boyd Banks, and he didn't really give his occupation, but he was really handy with a gun. He was I remember he hurt his leg, but he served a lot of useful purposes. He was a funny guy to talk to and stuff like that. So it shows the dynamic, group dynamic in stressful situations. And of course with scoring headshots. So Dawn of the Dead, that's the first movie from our collection. Second movie is, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen this, World War Z. I read the book, another book by Max Brooks, and I thought, a lot of people said negative things about the movie, but I said, you know what, I'm gonna check out the movie myself and see what I can gather from it. And it's about a guy named Jerry Lane. He was an investigator for the UN, in which he's now on this new mission, really to protect his family because his family's on an aircraft carrier. Sorry, and he was told that he has to do his investigation. When he doesn't want to do it, his hands forced by being told that they're evacuating non-essential personnel off his ship, and his family could be one of those people if he doesn't do his mission. So he goes about doing it. Before he gets to that part, it's pretty cool. It shows how it does show how he uses resources around him to get him out of a lot of hairy situations. I remember there was a giant car accident where the driver of a garbage truck, I believe it was a garbage truck, he lost control and he was plowing through the traffic, and basically he decided to follow behind this garbage truck because it was making him a clear path. There was another scene where he used his daughter's doll to figure out how fast does a person change, and the doll counts down in 12 seconds, and he uses that to figure out how fast it takes after a person is bitten to turn to a zombie. It does show a lot of improvisation of weapons. Like his family gets into it. They take an RV and head to Jersey, and they find a rifle, and he was able to use a rifle to defend himself and his family in a supermarket. But later on he shows him he's about to go out into an apartment building that's filled with zombies. So he grabs a bayonet, or rather he grabs a kitchen knife, duct tapes it to the barrel, and it works very well as a bayonet as he turns a hunting rifle into a combat rifle. He takes magazines around his forearm to keep it from getting bit, which also comes in handy with keeping the door shut. And one of the zombies sticks his head through the window and bites his arm, but he protects himself with the magazines. Improvisation of weapons. How he's on a plane, Jerry's on a plane, and there's zombies in the plane. So he's using. He gets other people to use the baggage to try to create a wall to separate one half of the plane, which is infected, from the other half of the plane. It doesn't work, but it's also shown again when he's at a World Health Organization building, and there's only one gun, but they use a fire axe and a crowbar to protect themselves, in a baseball bat, protect themselves against the zombies that are inside inside a certain level of the building. So it does show a lot of improvisation a person may have to do, an emergency situation. And it does, and it shows same thing in stressful situations, dealing with zombies. And it's a good film. I encourage a lot of people to see this, not just for entertainment value, but for the also for the educational stuff that you may be able to find in the video. And last but not least, my funny side, Shaun the Dead. Shaun the Dead. I got this movie for Christmas, I believe in 2004, and this movie is it was a favorite amongst me and my friends. Whenever we get together, may have a movie night, may watch this, or maybe I watch this when I'm actually cleaning. I'm doing extensive cleaning on a gun, and it keeps me entertained. I find myself, cleaning the gun too fast, or I'm actually taking a little longer to clean the gun, so I'll actually rewind certain parts of this movie. But this movie is about, basically, there's a guy named Shaun. He's going through the motions of his day-to-day life. He's having relationship issues. His job sucks. He has issues within his family, with his friends, with one of his best friends, whose name is Ed. And then the next day, and the funny thing is, while his day-to-day life is going on, there are certain clues that lead to the next day, which shows the outbreak in full force. And this movie shows a lot of improvisation as well. The first kill that's shown by his friend Ed is with an ashtray, and since they don't really have any guns, in London, they had to come up with unique ways of defending themselves against zombies. You see the main character Shaun, he has a cricket bat. His friend Ed has a shovel. This is his girlfriend. What is his girlfriend's name? She's played by Kate. I think her name is Kate Ashfield. The movie is just hilarious. It shows music using records. It shows a lot of don'ts in that movie. They're using kitchen appliances, throwing those, and then they show he gets Shaun's record collection, starts throwing those. In the movie, it does show that foam or kitty lawn furniture is not a good weapon to use. It shows like a lot of dynamics with how conflict between characters. One is Shaun just broke up with his girlfriend just broke up with him, and he's also trying to patch up his relationship while all this is going on. It has a good soundtrack. If you like Queen, you're gonna love this movie. Which I'm a Queen fan myself.